Hey students, in our last lecture of business research method, we had discussed about some attitude measurement scales like constant sum, semantic differential, and Likert scale. In this lecture, we will discuss some more attitude measurement scales. The first scale that we will discuss is Stapel scale. It is named after Jane Stapel. This measures simultaneously the direction and intensity of an attitude. So the direction of an attitude as well as the intensity of an attitude. Simply, if I have a positive attitude towards something, then how intense that positive attitude is, or if I have negative attitude about something, that how intense that negative attitude is. So both the things simultaneously. This scale with a single adjective is used as a substitute for the semantic differential scale when it is difficult to create pairs of bipolar adjectives. In a discussion with semantic differential scale, we had discussed that it is a bipolar scale. So we need to have two words on two poles, and both the words should be opposite to each other, equally strong and opposite. But if we find it difficult to have two equally strong opposite words, then we can use this scale, which is semantic differential scale, in which we use only one adjective, single adjective, as it is shown in the example wide selection. We can take an example of a store where there is a wide selection of uh, products is available. So it ranges from 3 plus 3 to minus 3, upside 1 2 3, and downside minus 1 minus 2 minus 3. So if a respondent takes 1, it means wide selection is perceived but not very strong. 2 means wide selection perceived stronger. 3 means very strong perception or attitude that there is a wide selection of products at the store. In the same way, opposite side minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3. Stapel scale places a single adjective in the center of an even number of numerical values ranging generally from plus 3 to minus 3. Second important thing to consider in this scale is this is a vertical scale. We have seen all other scales which are horizontal, but this is a vertical scale. Next scale that we'll discuss is graphic rating scale. A graphic rating scale presents respondents with a graphic continuum. The respondents are allowed to choose any point on the continuum to indicate their attitude. So in we have discussed semantic differential, again somewhat similar, but there were some points, 7 points. So at any single point the respondent could tick or choose. But in this case there is no point, it is simply a continuous line, and the respondents are supposed to choose or tick anywhere on that line. So for example, seating comfort, not important, very important. Again, attitude about something where the seating comfort is important or not. In-flight meals, important, not important, very important and not important. Airfare, very important and not important. So if someone ticks somewhere close to very important, it means the attitude is that it is very important. And if someone ticks somewhere close to very close to not important, it means there is a strong attitude that airfare is not important. Next we'll discuss paired comparison. This is a very interesting scale used for measurement of attitude. A measurement technique that involves presenting the respondents with two objects and asking the respondent to pick the preferred object. More than two objects may also be presented, but comparison are made in pairs only. That is why it is called paired comparison. A very simple example, and that example helps us to understand it well. If we want to compare between three brands, for example, I have taken the example of Dettol, Savlon and Lifebuoy. So we can compare these three brands, attitude towards these three brands, but at one point of time we can compare only two, a pair. So for example, in one question we can ask Dettol is better, Savlon is better, both are the same. So on the basis of this we can find out which one is perceived better by the respondent. Then in another question we can ask Dettol is better, Lifebuoy is better, both are the same. So first we can compare one pair, Dettol and Savlon, and in second question we can compare another pair, Dettol and Lifebuoy. So on the basis of these answers we can find out that out of these three which particular brand is most preferred or perceived better. Next is forced choice rating scale. Why it is called forced choice? As we have seen that in some of our last examples there were some middle points: uncertain, don't know, not maybe. If it is a 7-point scale, the center point is uncertain or not interested or don't know. But in forced choice rating scale, that requires respondents to choose one of the fixed alternatives. Sometimes respondents have not formed an attitude towards the concept being studied and simply cannot provide an answer. So sometimes when respondents cannot provide an answer like uncertain, don't know, then a forced choice rating scale compels the respondents to answer. So in this case, they need to give an answer. There is a forced choice. For example, we have taken an example: how does the Bank of Commerce compare with First National Bank? We are comparing two banks, Bank of Commerce and First National Bank. Bank of Commerce is better, Bank of Commerce is about the same, or Bank of Commerce is worse. So the respondent has to give some answer, either better or worse or same. Respondent cannot say don't know, uncertain, right? So this is a forced choice. Though we can have one more choice in this uh, scale as well, the fourth one choice, don't know, then again it would be similar to other scales where the respondent, if does not have any attitude, respondent can take the fourth one. That is a solution to this. But otherwise this forced choice rating scale is specially made for getting a forced answer from the respondents, any attitude from the respondent that should be there. Respondent should not go with uncertain or don't know answer. Next, this is the last for this particular unit. How we decide that which particular scale, measurement scale, should we use. So first we need to think that whether we should go for a choice type of answer or should we go for an open-ended. Second, and the more important thing that we need to consider while deciding the scale is, are we trying to go for ranking, sorting, rating, or something else? So depending on which scale we use, ranking, sorting, rating, the mathematical and statistical operations are different. So if we want to have more mathematical and statistical measurements, analysis tools, then we'll have to choose those scales on which those tools can be implemented or used. As we have discussed that for ranking ordinal scale, only limited operations can be done. For nominal scale, even less operations can be done. And for rating, there are more mathematical or statistical operations possible. So we need to decide that do we want to go for more options, more statistical operations, then we need to go for a scale with either interval or ratio scale. Then types of category labels. While deciding the scale, we need to understand which type of category labels, and can we have all those category labels. If we can't have, then we need to choose the scale accordingly, as we have discussed: semantic differential scale, graphic rating scale, and staple scale, where we have only one adjective rather than two. And the last is number of scale positions required. As we have discussed that some scales have 3 points, some scales 7 points, some scales with 5 points. So there are different scales with different scale positions. So how complicated or how many numbers of scale position we want for the analysis. So on that basis, again, we need to decide the scale. One more important thing is that we also need to understand the respondents category, as we had discussed in scales as well, that if the respondents are educated, they can understand complicated scales, they can answer responses on the complicated scales, we can go for complicated scales. But if respondents are not much educated, then we need to use simpler scale. And another thing is the size of questionnaire. If it is very lengthy, we must go for simpler scales. So this is all about measurements, attitude measurements and scales. And we'll get back for some more lectures on business research methods. Thank you.